I'm Mark Dziuba. I'm the guitar player in the band.
Vinnie Martucci. I'm as you can see, the keyboardist and the recording studio engineer, kind of gluing all the nonsense together.
My name is Jeff Siegel, and I am the drummer, and I teach at SUNY as well as these guys. And Vinny, of course, is former professor, retired. I teach applied percussion and ensembles, jazz ensembles, chamber jazz.
My name is Rich Syracuse, and I teach jazz bass at SUNY New Paltz, as well as a jazz history course.
Starting in the mid-1980s, I started running into Jeff and then Rich at various gigs. And there's a certain core group of musicians that, always seem to end up on the gigs, whether they're funk, R&B, or jazz, either here in the city or elsewhere. Many of these guys are transplants from New York. And then Mark, I ran into Mark in the late 1980s, 1990, when I started at SUNY as an adjunct piano teacher back in 1990. So that would be 30 years ago. And we had offices right across the hall from each other. And we both heard each other play and started knocking on each other's doors like, wait a minute, who are you and what? Wow. And I'm going to leave it at that. Let somebody else continue on with the story. Mark, why don't you take it from there?
Yeah, well, I think the first time we came together to play was actually on one of my first records. I was recording with and at Vinnie's studio, and I had met Jeff through something called the National Guitar Workshop before I actually started teaching at SUNY. So I got him to play drums, and I had met Rich early on when I first moved up here. We used to gig together sometimes up in Saratoga Springs, New York. And then Vinnie and I met. So I wanted them on my record. So I think that might have been the first time the four of us actually played together in that particular format.
So again, guys, it's like 30 years ago already, but man, yeah. What a fantastic run we had. I mean, and we have the scene in Hudson Valley, these great musicians that were here. And, like we're all from professional careers out of New York. Vinnie, you were also a Boston guy too, right?
Right, yeah, did the whole Berklee College of Music thing and whatnot. But really the minute I could get out and go and come to New York and start doing my thing, that was probably the best decision I ever made.
And I think Vinnie said it, we kind of all gravitated towards each other, around each other. The music scene is like that. You develop friendships with people that go a little deeper than the music. And of course that helps with the music in a lot of ways. And every time the four of us have played over the years, I mean, it's amazing. I'm thinking about it now, but over 30 years, every time we've played together, for me, it was always a special occasion in a lot of ways. And I played with all kinds of great musicians, but there was always something about the four of us that I just always, anytime we had the opportunity to do a concert or a gig or whatever. And when they asked me to join the SUNY New Paltz faculty, after another good friend of ours retired, I was absolutely happy to do it because I just wanted to be around these guys a little more. And so I'm happy to be a part of the professors at this point.
When you talk about music with students and we all get excited about it, you're constantly reflecting on what it is that you do, where you could go, where you've been, what you desire to do. And, through teaching, we all get really excited about what it is that we do. And so our students, hopefully. And when we come together to play music, that's all reflected in our kind of incredible enthusiasm about what it is that we do.
Teaching, that's what I try to convey to my students. It's not so much that I'm going to wave some kind of magic wand to them in a lesson and all of a sudden they're going to be good. I'm going to share with them my experience, which is a performer. And as a performer, my love of education helps me to do that. And I try to inspire my students the way, like, for instance, these guys inspire me every time we play together.
teaching jazz music makes you very self-analytical. So I think the thing that we all get from teaching is like you have to explain what it is that you do. And so I'm teaching things that I've thought about a lot because I've been teaching a long time, but a lot of those things are things that nobody really taught me necessarily, but I learned from doing it. So it makes you very reflective on yourself, even technically, how you do things, and so I feel like it always makes me better, adds understanding to about myself through teaching because I have to really self-examine so much. And then I, of course, get a lot from my students are always turning me on to new music and, with,
Yeah.
great questions and things like that.
Another thing, I'll just add, is when you teach, if you're really going to be convincing, you're going to be honest with what you're doing. You're not going to, BS your way through it. And that translates into our group. I mean, when we play music together, there's just a real pure honesty in what we're communicating with each other. Not necessarily that we're thinking about being honest or anything. It's just kind of coming out that way, which I really love about playing with these guys.
And I think that comes from the respect we have for each other too. I know when I'm on the bandstand with you guys, I respect you as human beings, and I respect you as friends, and I respect you also as the artists that we all actually have turned into over the years. And so it's an inspiration, and it's a discipline. And like Jeff said, there's a lot of analysis that goes on.
Filtered its way back into exactly what you're saying. Each of us contributed 2 tunes. So we did 2 of Mark's tunes and Jeff's tunes and Rich's tunes and my tunes. So each of us was assigned the task of climbing into each other's tunes at each session. So at each session, we would do one of each of our songs. And so the whole band would devote ourselves to that vision, whatever Rich's vision was for that song, or Jeff's vision was for his tune, or Mark's tune. So we had to really reconfigure ourselves on each song, with the addition of, being in the studio, resetting, the inputs and changing the colors and the mixes and maybe the setup, or adding a microphone so that Jeff could play Guiro in one tune where he wasn't doing it in another tune. And so there's using that as an analogy, there's a lot of internal reworkings, reconfiguring us, almost like a chessboard, but doing it intuitively at the same time. It's really a really marvelous experience. And for me, that extends all the way back to me in my own writing. I'm intuiting out where things are going to go, reacting in the moment after spending decades of, exploring it and trying to get it together as a musician, is, drawing on that well.
Each tune that the member would bring to the session is so different from the way you personally would write. So spending time on Rich's tune, learning this crazy head, when I first look at it, I'm like, what is this? and I sit down, and every day it starts to kind of unfold and unravel. And the same with Vinnie's tune, and the same with Jeff's tune. So after a week of really looking at my friend's music, I'm starting to understand not only how the tune goes, I'm learning a little more about these people. And, I'm learning how at first listen or look at, let's say, Rich's tune, how abstract it seems to me. But as I start to learn it, I start to understand it, and it's really exciting. And then we all do that with each other's music. And when we come together in the session, it's kind of magical, because you have to remember, Cody, we put sometimes hundreds of hours of work into each other's music, and then we play it. And, then we kind of fine tune it, but it's so cool to kind of see what Rich is doing with my tune, what Vinnie decided to do with the chord changes and the voicings, and what rhythms Jeff came up for when I specified a particular feel that was pretty ambiguous, and he just came up with something really cool. It's really great. that's kind of the essence of the Professors group, really, you know.
And these two songs that I wrote, I specifically wrote for these guys. And it's funny because I wrote the song Break Tune, and I showed it to Mark and Vinny. I wanted to play it at one of the faculty concerts. I don't know if you remember that. And you were like, "Nah, we can't play this. Can't play this." And the funny thing about it, though, is that I wrote the music, these two songs, specifically with these guys in mind. And it's fascinating because Jeff and I, as a rhythm section, have been playing together for so long, and we played thousands of gigs together, and we've traveled together, and we're very close. And I know that no matter what Jeff does, it's going to be the right thing for my music. And Mark, the way he plays guitar, the sounds he gets, the way he voices harmony, you know, it inspired me to write my melodies the way I would write them. And then, of course, Vinny is a magician and for great pianist, just period. But then also his ability to, you know, just develop these fantastic sounds and rhythmic applications with the synthesizer and the keyboard work that he does. It's inspiring to me. And I got to be honest with you, man, with this whole pandemic situation that we've been in, I've written 5 more tunes for this group. I mean, you know, it's inspired me to write, you know, which I haven't had a chance to do because normally I'm out gigging all the time. So I've got 5 more songs for you guys to record. So,
all right.
I know. I have a tune that we recorded that's actually called For Vinny. You can guess where the title came from, but it was in honor of Vinny and our friendship. And Vinny, of course, just recently retired from SUNY. And, you know, we are all so beholden to everything that he did for the university, for the music department, for the students, and us as faculty. And so I just wanted to give him a little gift there. So this is my tune for Vinny is just like a little ditty that, you know, reminded me of him and the kind of stuff that, you know, one of the things that he sounds great playing on, you know. So I'm glad that we got a chance to record it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great tune.
And not for nothing, guys, man, this where we find ourselves today, it probably would have been impossible for us to get together and record this project. How busy we've been, you know, with now that Vinny's retired and, you know, we're not out gigging all the time. It was just fortuitous, perfect timing. And it was such for me, such an uplifting opportunity, especially in light of the fact that I've been home since March 9th. You know, music for me is really what I do. I mean, I do other things in my life. I've had a chance to do a lot of interesting things, but music is, I think, the one thing that's kept me centered. And this year's been very difficult for me. And having the chance to do this project with these guys really kind of, at the right time for me, just kind of like brought me back up to, you know, just not feeling so, you know, out of it, you know. And so there's a lot to it, man. It's not just playing music. I mean, I'm sure people talk about this all the time, but, you know, the 4 of us, it's really, the music that we make is the 4 of us. It's really a fantastic process.
You know, I mean, some of the music we write is, you know, probably most of it is not necessarily for this group. So, you know, various things in your life or people that we know. A lot of my tunes are inspired by people, but another tune that we recorded, I was just kind of reflecting on life in America today, you know. And then when you bring, you know, so the inspiration can come from a lot of different places when you write music, and, you know, bringing it to these guys and then seeing what they do with it is you know, is things that you can't even imagine, you know. And then the compositions that we all do, I think, take on a life of their own, which is different than if you brought it to some other people. So, you know, it's a special chemistry, I think, that we share, that, and, you know, the unique way everybody plays that, you know, really makes it, you know, the Professors, you know, special thing.
We play together, as the professors. We know the audience is digging the fact that we're digging playing. They may not understand the music like we do, but people are constantly saying, "You guys look like you're having so much fun. It's fun to watch you." So I miss the audience reacting to our joy and kind of interacting with it, and that's irreplaceable. I mean, you can't do that virtually. It's just something in a stinky little club, that you experience. It's fantastic.
Connection with people, especially the connection with people. I mean, I'm sure you guys agree, but for me, it's a little bit like come for the bacon and stay for the music. I mean, a gig now at this point, after having been in the area for so many years, we've kind of grown up with our families and and our friends and everything, and we know everybody knows everybody else's kids, and I show up on the gig as much to see my friends as it is to play the music. And it just so happens that playing the music is so unbelievably cool that it's, and then with the audience or whatever, I feel like that community experience is the thing I miss most.
A jazz musician, there's sort of a culture. The culture is part of the music, and the hang after the gig, or maybe during the gig, maybe you're having a meal together or before and catching up, and especially then musicians that you've become friends with, and these guys are some of my very best friends in life. So the music is becomes like an extension of the friendship and a way to communicate. When we're trading ideas, it's like we're all right here right now exchanging our thoughts and feelings, and we do the same thing when we play. So of course, music, you can express the inexpressible, things that transcend language. So that's that creative process that we get into, where the sum of the parts is more than just the individual. You can't replace that. A Zoom thing, or it's like that special chemistry that you get when anybody would be together with their friends and communicating and experiencing things together, and then ideas germinating from that special relationship, in the moment.
And we're going to do what we've always done. We're going to continue to move forward, and the future probably is pretty bright, I think, especially now that Vinnie has all this time to concentrate on what he does best, and that's organize. And I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for Vinnie, I mean, Vinnie did so much work with this, and it's anything Vinnie does is going to be top-notch professional. So we have a great website. We have got nice videos that Vinnie put together and edited. The music is beautifully mixed, and we're going to be out there, man. That's for sure. I know it. I know we will. And I'll probably wear a mask for the rest of my life.
Your new trademark.
We've gone to China. We've gone to Colombia, South America, and we've done many things around the United States, and we want to continue doing that. We've got basically an open invitation to return to Colombia, where we taught a couple of years ago. So post-pandemic, if people survive and they can keep their programs going, we're ready to hit it again. So
in the control room of the studio right now, and I have rediscovered just how much I miss this place. So I, alongside all these things that we're all going to do, we've got the second Professor's album already starting to think in the works, maybe getting some tours and this and other works and other projects going. But I rediscovered just how much of a studio animal I am. So I'm thrilled to be back in this place.
Cool.
And you're not all tied up as the chairman of the department, right? Because that tied you up, man.
Well, I recording studio work in between memorandums.
But man, now you've got. Now it seems to me like you've got time to really concentrate on this. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's really a joy. So Jeff, what are you going to do?
Well, I hope to well, be motivated to book some gigs, and to, certainly we'll be playing in Woodstock if that's still going on. I mean, some of the first gigs that we did together were at a Japanese restaurant in New Paltz, and so we can do some of that. We can bring the students in and get to play for the students and the local community. So we always hope to be doing that as well as whatever else we're doing. So just hope that we can all keep our health together and keep this going as long as we can, both teaching and playing with these guys.
Yeah. And one of the great things about, having our students come out to hear us play is we may turn to them, like, in the third set and say, hey man, you want to sit in? So we've actually, passed the torch quite a few times to a lot of our students.
Sure.
And we like to keep doing that because that's part of what we do.
That's the tradition, really. It's almost our obligation to bring along our students and have them sit in. I mean, that's how I came up, man. I was 14, 15 years old. And, I would be asked to sit in, and I had no business being there. But if I never was asked to be there, I wouldn't know what that would be like. So that's an important thing to do for our students.
The show on Tuesday that, because of the circumstances of the album that, everyone has spoken eloquently about that, just the challenges and, nobody has gigs, everybody's, missing working. We were able to figure out a way to record, because I have these ISO booths, which are really very isolated from each other. And so we found a way to do our recording process, and it was magic. So we're all looking forward to sharing this magic on Tuesday, because you can hear it just jumping out of the tracks when you're listening to how, everyone's doing their thing, soloing or accompanying or whatever. There's just some real excitement going on, and we're looking forward to sharing all of that with everybody on Tuesday. We're rolling.
Los Colombianos soplandos mi mente.
This is break tune, take one. We're rolling.
1, 2, 3, 4. What do you think about a band intro on this one? I mean, you're the feature, but we'll play, like, orchestrate a little bit behind you.
Yeah, I'll lead you, and you paint by color?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Rich? Maybe we can make it longer even.
Okay, so band intro, Vinnie, take 3?
Yep. Here we go. I'll start.
Yeah, cats. This is Forever Take 2A.
Bye.